What's up, hobby friends, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Now, we got some good hobby stuff this week. I'm in the middle of a massive move, so everything keeps shifting in my space, but you know, that's how it goes. But yeah, we'll get into some hobby stuff that we've been doing and trying to do and see how it goes. Brent, what have you been up to in the last few weeks for hobby?
Well, Casey, I backed a Relic Blade Kickstarter.
Ooh.
So Sean and to a lesser but still important degree, Malev have been working on a Kickstarter for a while. They've been working on the single player experience for Relic Blade. And, you know, I can just tell when I'm listening to that Relic Buds podcast that they are excited about what's going on. So I did it. I backed their new Kickstarter. By the time this episode, comes out, you have mere days to back the Caverns of Corral, however you pronounce that Kickstarter.
Yeah, I have no idea. I also backed that Kickstarter. I'm very excited. It's, single player campaign. I think as far as I know, I'm the only person that owns Relic Blade in my area. So, yeah, I'm excited to play by myself. That's
all right.
But for real, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. No, I do want to try that system out. I think I could con one of my friends here locally into playing Relic Blade with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Relic Blade, again, we've talked about it before, but the art is just so engaging. It's all done by 1.5 individuals. And a rule book that I actually read part of and then forgot all of, but I still like the pictures.
Right. Pictures are good. Kept you going, flipping the pages. You're like, aha. Then you roll some dice. I see. Yeah, there's some really cool art in that. I like how the minis really reflect that same art style too. Just recently I watched a YouTube video on the Relic Blade YouTube channel of Sean designing one of the pigmen. It was pretty cool. Like it very much felt like watching somebody sketch something out, and he's just casually talking about this process of, oh yeah, just ZBrush and this stuff, blah blah blah. It's like there's this pigman at the end, and you're just like, holy crap, it's insane.
Sean works very fast, I think.
It seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean is the 2D artist and also sculpts the minis and writes the rules and everything else. And so it is really cool to see this project that is really coming from one mind. And now Malev helps out. Malev also has a good mind and is a good artist.
Yeah. Yeah, earlier you said he was half a person. I thought that was unfair.
Yeah, I mean, Relic Blade, that is Sean's baby, but Malev is also there. Yeah,
he's there. Yes,
yeah,
very much so. Yeah, so that's cool. Looking forward to that. I don't know when it's supposed to fulfill, but I imagine that it's probably pretty soon. I know that I think everything's pretty much done with it. So
it doesn't matter. I've still got Relic Blade minis to paint, and. Yeah, man, as a YouTuber, the reason I haven't done a YouTube video on Relic Blade yet is because I haven't thought of a title that'll get any number of views.
Right.
I have it in my mind if I just have a title, Relic Blade is a cool game. Relic Blade looks cool. Nice. Relic Blade, such a cool game that I read the rule book. Everything I'm coming up with is just oh, that's nobody's going to click that video. I wouldn't click that video. So
Right. See, I've learned that you really do have to figure that angle around, right? The Warhammer elephant in the room, right? But people get mad at you.
And I've found some good ways around that, or making a title that doesn't use the word Warhammer. The one I am most proud of is how to paint power armor, or one weird trick to paint power armor. I don't know.
One weird trick.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe how to paint this power armor. Change your life.
Yeah. I like that too, because it insinuates Warhammer without saying it. It's good. Yeah. Power armor is power armor, right? They don't technically own that. I don't think they do. I'm sure they tried, but...
Right. And from my experience recently of playing some Relic Blade and playing some Warhammer, I mean, I can tell you that Relic Blade is a better game, but I don't know. I don't know how to put that in title format. I
think you just did.
I guess that's a title. I don't know.
Like Relic Blade versus...
but I don't want it. It is so good and pure that it shouldn't be piggybacking off of anybody else's work. It should stand proud as its own thing. And I am excited that the Kickstarter seems to be doing well. They seem to be happy with the results. You know, that I don't know. As we're recording, it's 73,000 on Kickstarter, which is awesome. That can buy groceries for 1.5 people for a little while. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. No, I think that's really cool.
All of the costs of, making that product and getting it out to people.
I mean, more that, but yeah, I'm sure groceries are involved. You gotta eat while you sculpt,
You gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta.
That's a lot of Pop-Tarts. What that is.
All right, so viewers out there, you let me know what a good title for my Relic Blade video is going to be, and then maybe I'll make it, because I've painted the minis, I've made terrain for it, I have actually read the rulebook, and then forgotten.
You've done like all of the prerequisite work to making a video.
I have done everything required to make a video. I'm just like, nobody's going to watch this. I'll figure it out later.
Right. I mean... Yeah, man, I don't know. It's so hard. It's stupid.
And
still.
And it may just be that I say, you know what, we're doing it. We're making a title. Relic Blade is a cool game, and that's the title. And we just send it out into the world and see what happens, even though we know what's going to happen. Yeah.
If you held off like 2 months and didn't put out a video, and that was the first video that you put out after 2 months, I think the interest would be enough, because you'd get the rest of the people who are like, I guess he's not dead. Let me find out what happened. And you'd probably get a lot of that like follow through. So that might be the strategy on that one.
One weird tip to get people to watch a Relic Blade video. Well, there's a title. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. One weird trick, like pretend you canceled your YouTube account for 2 months and then came back anywhere.
Will anyone watch a Relic Blade video? More than you might think.
That's probably true. It does seem to be like gaining popularity. I mean, every time we've mentioned it, people are like, hey, I really like that game, which is cool to hear.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't even look at the new models. I just know they're going to be cool. I know that the art on the cards is going to be cool. So, and I wanted to support that and make it keep on. I want the game to still be alive when I finally do make that video. So exactly. Yeah, I also blindly just clicked the I will back this and didn't look at what I was getting. I just went, what's the thing that comes with the things? Okay, this one. And that's how that went. There was a $12 upsell of like, hey, do you also want this Witch of the Woods? For $12, I don't know what that is, but I'll take one of those. Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of models for like $12. So there are a whole bunch of them. I think you just keep the one that was on the top of the list.
Oh, what? Oh,
you're like, sure, really? I'll take that one offshoot model.
Oh, I tried to scroll down. I didn't see anything more. Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was weird that they were just like, all right, you want a Witch of the Woods? Yeah, I mean, I'll take that. Yeah. Nothing else? Okay.
Unless you have one. Hopefully you don't. But you wouldn't know. You didn't look at all the models. Yeah. Just multiples of Witch of the Woods. That's fine. That's for video making purposes. It makes perfect sense.
All right. I got another short update here that might go along with Witch of the Woods. All right. So you get that Witch of the Woods some furs, and you might be able to use her alternatively in the game of Frostgrave.
There you go. That's good. I like that. Real professional segue into that. That was good.
We're very professional here at Paint Bravely, the podcast. Tell your friends, subscribe, leave a comment.
Approximately 42% of the time we act professionally. So you bought some Frostgrave. You actually bought a rule book, even though you're not going to read it.
I flipped through it today, and it has some good art. And I understand the basic layout of where to find the rules that I might someday need in this book. Mm-hmm. But no, I went to a wedding last weekend, in Pennsylvania, and I made it to Showcase Comics in the Swarthmore area. And
all right.
yeah, I was looking around the store. Actually, very well stocked store. Very cool looking store. Couple of randos came up and said hi to me. That was cool too. But anyway, I was looking around, and you know who you are. You know who you are. And I was looking around, well stocked on games that aren't in every store. A really good section on Legion, a lot of X-Wing stuff, a lot of good stuff. Anyway, there was the physical Frostgrave book, which I actually had not seen in a store before, so picked that right up. It's I'll be honest, I bought it for my bookshelf. We both know that I will never read most of the words in this book. Yeah, but it is a very nice hardcover book, like very, very nice looking. Some nice art in there, and it was only $35. And I do genuinely like the idea of Frostgrave, the idea of getting your wizard, getting your wizard's apprentice, getting your band of soldiers, and having it all be model agnostic, so it can be absolutely whatever you want. You can use, Witch of the Woods as your wizard, as your sorcerer, or as your sorcerer's apprentice. Yeah. And the plastic model kits that come from, is it North Star Miniatures, I think? The plastic model kits that are associated with Frostgrave, very nice. We've talked about these before, but they're all super modular, a lot of really nice bits in there, so... All right, I'll check this off of my list, my bucket list. I have the book for Frostgrave, 2nd edition. Nice book.
Very good, yeah.
No regrets.
Do you like listen to audiobooks and then go out and buy the physical copy to put on your bookshelf?
No, I don't. Do you?
I do that, yeah. Like as a trophy wall kind of thing. Like, yes, I read this 7-book series and now I own them and I will literally never open them.
So, Casey, you closed on a brand new house. You are moving tomorrow. Is that correct?
In like 12 hours, yeah.
Tell me more about your trophy wall of books.
Well, it's growing, and makes boxes pretty heavy.
Yep.
But a lot of Stephen King novels, a lot of those.
Oh no!
Yeah. What? What?
That's a lot of weight for like an interesting premise that goes nowhere. I don't know.
Oh, I know. It's completely pointless. Actually, for the most part, I don't go out and buy them new. I find them like at thrift stores. So if I find a book that I've read and it's like, okay, like I wouldn't mind having this just in case, apocalypse and, I want to reread this book or whatever, it just seems like a good idea.
No, I went through that phase. I went through a real big thrift store phase of, going to like every thrift store in my local area and going to the bookshelves, looking through every shelf. And I was collecting my Robert Jordans. That's actually where I found a Game of Thrones for the first time. Before it was famous, the really cool old cover on it. I got
like the first edition.
And I definitely did get some Stephen. It wasn't first; it was a paperback, but it had a different art than the one that you're thinking of.
Yeah. Before they did all this stuff. Yeah.
But anyway,
I just think it was interesting. It's like getting game books and collectible books like that to put on the bookshelf when you know you're never going to open that up. Like, it's nice for the wall, right? Like, to put in your hobby space.
It is. In this situation, though, I have built models for this game. And someday I may paint models for this game. And it is not insane for me to tell myself that I might someday play this game. So I'm cool with this. It looks good on the shelf. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. I'm hoping that because my new space is going to be a lot bigger, right? So I'm hoping that, I can start expanding out and actually having a larger shelf for things like books. Because I do have a lot of books, like a lot of game books that are piled in the closet kind of thing. And it's like I might actually pick them up and play them if they were available. I mean, going through a move in particular, you really start going through stuff and you're like, where did this crap come from? Like, where did I get half the stuff in my house? And I don't remember even owning stuff. Like, okay, I had like a food saver, you know, one of those vacuum sealers. And like 2 years ago, my wife was like, oh no, we got rid of that. We sold that thing. And like an idiot, I went out and bought a new one because I'm like, oh, I got this like sous vide. I'm going to do this stuff and cook. So now I have two of them. And that's just stupid. Like, accessibility is such a big deal. And it obviously translates perfectly into the hobby. Like, if there's a Frostgrave rulebook in front of me every day, I'm like, man, I could, build this model for that. I could get that witch from Relic Blade and throw that in there because I accidentally bought one. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like, you never know. So I'm hoping that in the new space to do something like that, to have a nice game setup. Because I want to put a game table and, have stuff accessible. That's a very important part of the move.
Yeah. Hey, a nice bookshelf is worth a lot. You treat yourself when you've got that room for it. Right?
When you actually have the room. Yeah, I took apart my hobby closet finally, and I boxed it up, and it takes up like a good quarter of my entire hobby space just in boxes, and that's stacked as tall as I am. Like, it's a stupid amount of stuff that I didn't realize was in there. Yeah. So, yeah, 12 hours or so. Gonna be moving all that and hoping to somehow manage to make a video during all of it. I don't know how that's gonna go. We're gonna find out.
So I'm curious. You know what your current hobby setup has been like for the past few years. You're moving to a new space. You have more space. Are there any like key changes that you're making? Key upgrades? Putting an L on your desk?
Pretty much, like stuff like that. Like I've got two like taller kind of bar-sized desks, like workbenches. And those are pretty good to paint at because I have like a tall stool, and then I have like work chests, like tool chests, big ones. And there's no leg room, to sit at the tool chest, which is normally fine because it's like storage and other stuff. But
I think I told you about this in episode 10.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's why I got the workbenches, right? Like, because I can pull up a chair, it's fine. It makes it. You painted at it. It's fine.
It's
yeah,
fine.
it works. But like having a little bit of like, I really want to put a built-in desk, something that has like permanent setups at, right? Like, this is where the filming of the painting happens, and it doesn't move. Things like that. Like, I want to be able to have a space that is dedicated, and I'll have room for that now, where I don't currently. I have to kind of rearrange everything right now every single time I want to do something, and that's like really time consuming. Even if I just want to paint for fun, it's like, if it's not permanent, I have to spend time doing it, and that makes it less likely that I'm gonna get there. Like, actually, it's kind of like, even the wet palettes are really nice. Having to set one up is just a barrier to getting to painting quicker, right? So sometimes it is a weird, like, I just don't want to do that, so I don't paint the model, So I want to kind of take away those barriers. That's my goal.
That is a fantastic point. Like, yeah, just having a little bit of dedicated space where what you want to do is set up and ready to go. That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, so putting in regular, like, chair level desks, like, that's going to be a thing. Like I said, doing like a gaming table setup, I think is going to be pretty important. Having an actual like 6x4 play area that's always there is going to be like, okay, well, I can always just play a game. I don't have to like get the ping pong table out or the whatever, It's just ready to go. Same thing with the bookshelf, like having rule books available, I want to play games that I bought that I just haven't looked at. So if they're on a bookshelf next to a game table with terrain and models, it's more likely I'm going to play it.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So things like that, like on the other side of things, so I had like black piping hung from the ceiling in a big square. And what I found was like for hanging lights and cameras and all this stuff, I only really used like one or two of the bars. So instead of making a bunch of squares or a big rectangle in the new room, I'm just going to put a bunch of bars, just straight bars in where it's like, okay, well, this is where that light is going to live. You know, like setting it up so that I don't have to think about it or move anything. I can hit the on switch and kind of go. So again, just kind of removing barriers and movement and setup time. So that's a big goal. I also need to look at, I know Scott put up a bunch of stuff in his new studio. He got a bunch of piping from some company. I need to like talk to that company and figure out what it is, because it's some kind of lightweight conduit that works really well.
Yeah, or just get Unistrut all over your ceiling.
That would work too, yeah.
Also good. Also good.
Right. Yeah.
Or you could invest in extremely weird niche 80/20 T-slot aluminum structural framing.
Right, where I have to go to a specialty website and order it by the pound.
Yeah. Yeah, it got a lot more expensive after they closed down their eBay store. You would have been into it when they had an eBay store. I mean,
hey, that's actually, that's true.
The eBay store was great. They're like, yeah, we have 4 lengths of 37.5-inch, 1.5-inch profile, black, anodized. Make us an offer. Be like, well,
that's not bad.
I could do something with 37.5 inches of that, especially if I had 4 of them. You do your math. Oh, this is way cheaper per pound than it normally is. Yeah, let's do this. You would have loved it. You would have loved it. Yeah.
I missed out. I definitely missed out on that. Such an important piece of the hobby room too. Like for like 0.5% of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to imagine that there was like you with a goatee living in, I don't know, Michigan or wherever that place is, running that eBay store, and then
yeah, catering to one type of person.
Right.
Yeah.
And then one day you with a goatee just quit, and then they had to shut down the entire 80/20 structural aluminum eBay store.
That makes sense. The entire company was on my shoulders. Yeah. I would have gotten fed up with that and just left.
Now they just sell the stuff for full price to businesses that can afford to pay.
Yeah, exactly. Like the way you're supposed to do it. Yeah.
Nobody is like measuring the like crappy offcuts of.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, we got 4 different pieces of random stuff. I guess somebody will use it.
I loved that. I loved that store. Yes, that was absolutely what it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'd just be like, we've got a lot of hardware here. And just, brackets and gussets. And it was great. It was great. Anyway, back to miniatures.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is still related. It's still good. The other thing with moving to this new hobby space is the plan is, and I pretty sure I've talked about this a few times and like obviously not committed, but it's changing the name of my channel and actually following through. So that's like a 90-day goal currently. Just full rebrand, rename, everything. So I'm sure eventually that video is going to come out with like the end of eBay miniature rescues, the thing that everybody does. It's like, not really. The end is the beginning.
No, this is what we're talking about. You got a title already. You know what?
Yeah, exactly.
You haven't even painted a single Relic Blade miniature for that video, and you already know what the title is. That's great. That's great.
That's actually not a bad idea. Like, really bury it in there and be like, like, not only am I changing the name of this channel, and
but I'm painting these minis. While we talk about this, I'm going to paint these Relic Blade minis, and then you just transition into more. Yeah.
I keep slipping them in, right? Like every so often, I'll get one in, and somebody will be like, "I know, I see you, Relic Blade model." Yeah. So every so often, the comments come in about that. Now, I've finished all of my Relic Blade models. They're done. I know, and I'm actually kind of sad about it because I want to paint more of them, and I don't have any more of them. So this Kickstarter needs to, hurry up.
You take your time, Sean and Malev. You get it right.
I mean, yes, I want that to happen. And yes, I could just go buy other models that are already out that I don't own.
Uh-huh.
But I need them to hurry up.
Okay.
Because these are the ones that I did buy.
Fair enough. Enough.
There's a giant eyeball monster. I did see that one. That one's still pretty quickly. It's like a stalk with an eyeball on it. Yeah.
Alrighty, well let's cruise through it. Check out our pals who have got a Kickstarter for Relic Blade, and also on Kickstarter is Idols or Torment, our pal Jeremy, Black Magic Craft, and also that old Brandon Sanderson's selling some models on Kickstarter, I think. And,
yeah, they're on Kickstarter.
I don't know.
Yeah. I've seen some people who are really excited about those.
Yeah.
And I don't really know. Like, okay, I get that it's based on a popular fantasy novel series.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. I don't know the books. I've never read them.
Sure.
So, looking at the models, I'm just like, these are fine. I just don't understand.
Right.
I would think
Brandon
that if it was
Sanderson,
a 30
if
novel.
You don't know, popular fantasy author, finished The Wheel of Time after the original author took too long and died. Then he has a couple of series of his own. I think Mistborn is his, and the Stormlight Archives.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably doing some other stuff. But anyway, Stormlight Archives is his current series, I think. He writes fast. I don't know. Anyway, he put out a Kickstarter for some minis from that series. And I didn't look at it too closely. The minis look okay. Not great.
They're just okay.
There are so many good minis out there right now that it is hard to stand out. And they look okay, but I have listened to the books. I have not bought the physical books, but I have listened to the books, or at least the first 3.5. I think I stopped somewhere in the 4th, but I'll get there eventually. But the books have shard plate and shard swords, shard blades, which are just magical weapons and magical armor. And sure. I mean, part of it's oh man, what do these things even look like? And that's part of what you're thinking about as you're reading it. It's this magical armor, these magical swords, you can't quite envision what they're supposed to look like. And then here's the mini, and it's just a guy holding a sword wearing some armor. It's well,
right. I guess you
cool. It's on you now. Yeah, good luck.
All glossy black. It's obsidian now. Yeah, the most non-armor thing, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, ironically, I actually think I own that first book in that series. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I still haven't started it.
I mean,
oh, man.
They're pretty good books. There's a dozen pretty good fantasy series out there right now, modern fantasy series. And he has 2 of them, and they're pretty good, but, I mean, spoilers alert, he likes characters who can fly. So by the second book of both of those series, just the main characters can fly now. And I don't know. It's weird to me. I don't really like superheroes that much. So just people flying around.
Everybody's turning into Superman. You're it's fine.
He has really, he has kind of a hard magic system of he really thinks through. Okay, magic is derived from metals, and if you have enough copper in your bloodstream, you can do this, or whatever.
Right,
if you eat, platinum dust, you can do this. And somehow that always just devolves into they can fly
and
now.
You can fly.
Yeah,
you have air in something, therefore you are now an airbender. That's how that works.
And again, I didn't look at these minis closely enough, but it better come with a lot of flight stands, I'll tell you what.
I didn't see any, but
just nasty acrylic flight stands on every one of those models. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I have been painting, well, barely painting. I've primed some models this week. It's about as far as I've actually gotten on any like real hobby. Like while packing and while filming the packing for, obviously potential like video, I've managed to 3D print out backpack wings and primed some Sisters of Battle models that I picked up for like $10, like a whole squad. And that's been cool. Except I haven't really started on it yet. I don't know. It's one of those things I think might happen or it might not by the time I have to go to make a video, and I'll work it in somehow.
You picked up the metal Sisters for $10, or you picked up the printing file for the backpack for $10?
No, the metal Sisters I picked up for $10, like it's 6 of them. So it was like a pretty good deal because they were missing backpacks. And then I found backpacks online. I think I did end up paying for the file. I can't remember how much it was. It wasn't that much, but printing out some fancy backpacks. The idea is, you look at the new plastic kits that GW makes, or pretty much anybody really that has plastic kits these days, and then you go back to like metal models, and there's just a hard line in there of like, this one doesn't look as good necessarily as the new shiny plastic. And the Sisters of Battle, like, even though they're designed to look kind of the same, are just sleeker and, nicer kits. Obviously, they're brand new. But I figured, if you take the old models and you kind of upgrade them a little bit, I'm going to 3D print these fancy backpacks. Like, that kind of bridges the gap a little bit. So, I think there's still a viable option for people who don't necessarily like pewter models, but still want something for a better price. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, you showed me the picture of those backpacks. Printer. They look good. The Seraphim backpacks, is that what we're talking about? The wings? Yeah, normally they're like these, they're kind of metal wings that are basically jetpacks. And these are like a jetpack with like angel wings. So a little more fancy, fantasy looking, but they look really cool. And I'm hoping that works out. It's like, I don't test these things out before I try them. I just think this makes perfect sense in my head, and I'm going to stick with that. It normally works. Hey, bringing new life to old models. 3D printing is a good way to do it. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, which I do like. I do wish there were more, I don't know, parts and pieces specific to that, but, someday. It's normally just the backpack, isn't it? That's fine. That's fine. Well, I kind of have a theory about that. It's like, for a model to really look cohesive and change the way it looks, it's the backpack, at least for Warhammer-centric models, right? Because they all have backpacks, right? You got your backpack, your head, and your shoulders. And that's everything about a Games Workshop model right there. That's what tells you what it is. I mean, broadening that out a bit, it's the silhouette of a model, of any model. Sure. Like, the silhouette tells you so much about it. Mm-hmm. And, head, shoulders, backpack, those are big ones. And then, whatever weapon they're holding up. But Yep. 100%. Yeah. All right. I'm ready, Casey. I'm ready to spill the beans on my secret project here. Secret project. One person did technically guess what it was. Only one person. And I did not confirm that to them. So they think that they just got left hanging. Yeah. Yeah, we can't confirm it. If you're right, we can't say anything. That's the funny thing about it. When you say guess. If you have a wild guess and you never hear a response from us, that means you're right. Yeah. Okay. Or we just didn't get to it. My way was funnier. Sounds better too. All right. Secret project. The beans. Spill the beans. Okay. So, we're putting together a dream team. We have put together a dream team,
Right.
Of people who can make it to the East Coast. Sorry, Casey, you're not on the dream team, but you knew about the dream team, and you're
I've
spiritually a part of it. You're busy. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm busy moving. That's what I'm doing. Also, really far away.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Okay, so we're getting together a team. The team consists of Mini Wargaming Dave, myself, One Page Rules, Cinecore Media, and Monument Hobbies. So this is a dream team, and so One Page Rules and Monument Hobbies are sponsoring essentially the most cinematic battle report ever filmed. So the sponsors are hiring a film team, and by film team I mean a crew that has gaffers, key grips, the lighting professionals, director of photography, actual director, like a team, like a film team.
Yeah.
And they are going to film Dave and I playing a game of One Page Rules with models painted with pro acrylic paints, and it's gonna have a robot arm and lens flares, a probe lens, and it's anyway,
a probe lens.
Very exciting stuff. This the game and the filming day is next month, and then we've got a professional editor to actually make this look good. Not just me like dragging and dropping
right, trying.
I'm talking like fades, star wipes, the whole deal.
Star wipes are important. Production value.
More star wipes. More
Absolutely.
star wipes. So this is something I've been working on in the background. It's why, if you've been watching my social media posts, there's starting to be more and more like dinosaurs showing up places. There's a dinosaur here.
Yeah, working on that. We did talk about them.
Yep.
We kind of threw that in there a little bit.
What's that old Brent doing with these dinosaurs?
Yeah, space dinos. Come on now.
So yeah, this is Grimdark Future is the game that we're going to be playing, which is the model agnostic, not Warhammer 40k that One Page Rules puts out. And it is, we talked about it, it's 1 page rules front and back. And I can do it. I can read that. I can do it. I will do it. I've got a month to read that page.
You might get halfway, I don't know.
There's still time.
Don't put any pressure on yourself there.
But yeah, so Cinecore Media is the company you may have seen. Dave put this out on the Mini Wargaming channel months ago at this point. But Cinecore Media made a 1 minute long kind of teaser trailer of just really nice shots of a Warhammer 40k board. And it's all these swooping shots down, and then there's a Necron, and then the camera like swings over, and there's a Space Marine, and then there's another Necron. And they're doing all this with I think it's a $300,000 robot arm.
Yeah.
So it's just it is a robot, like a serious heavy piece of machinery that's connected to a computer in the old sense of the word computer, like a refrigerator sized computer with like big cables coming out of this big beige refrigerator that are connecting to this robot arm that can reach, I don't know, like 15 feet across the room. It's huge. And it's got enough little tiny motors in it so that it can, I don't even know how many degrees of freedom, how many bends and stuff it can do. But yeah, so this is in Philadelphia. And so I was down in Philadelphia for a wedding last weekend. I stayed an extra day. I stayed on Monday to hang out with the film team. And I guess for fun, they interviewed me, but they were practicing with their robot arm at the same time. So the interview starts with this ridiculous camera move of like swooping down, getting all these shots of some of the minis I've painted on Goobertown Hobbies. And then it just goes to Dan, who's the guy interviewing me, and then it goes to me, and then it pans way back out. And so the first shot of the video is just for what was that?
It's already welling up. Crack it up.
So the first shot of the video is just this ridiculous camera movement, and they're just gonna put it up as an interview video on YouTube, and hopefully the actual interview did okay. But
I'm sure
the ridiculous cameras going on for this thing were just above and beyond. But that was mostly just practice, and so that I could see the inside of their studio, and so they could get some practice on the robot arm. But this is a huge project that's coming up. I'm gonna be on the Monument Hobbies Twitch stream this week, and actually the video crew is coming to my place in Maine, and then they're going out to see the mini wargaming bunker to get shots for. Essentially we would call it a battle report, but it's going to be a documentary. It's going to be a battle documentary of a game of Grimdark Future from One Page Rules. So I don't know. That's what's been going on here. I'm pumped.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super excited for this because it's been a while in the making, and it sounds so fascinating. I mean, I know you say it's going to be a documentary, but I don't know. Nobody's doing camera moves like that, especially in interviews and doing other stuff. And I mean, you start putting battle report with that. $300,000 robot arm films models. Yeah. Hope you've been practicing your painting, probe lenses and all.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They're getting right up in there.
I've got a paint scheme I'm pretty happy with. I got to perfect it a little bit and then paint the force, but I've got time. So
that's good.
That's one of the things I'm working on this month. But very excited. This YouTube business, it has been interesting to see. It's kind of our generation of internet YouTube gamer people sort of pushing the boundaries, and old Squidmar with his knowledge of how to use cameras, and Miniac, and that's cool and all, but I can't compete with that. But I can hire some people who have better cameras. So
yeah, hire the people with the super cameras and make them swoop around you while you shake your head. Yeah.
Scott the Miniature Maniac doesn't have a robot yet, does he?
Yet. I'm thinking $300,000, mini refrigerator of a camera. In 5-6 years, that thing's gonna be the size of these mic booms and desk controlled with your phone, right? Those are coming home soon. We're gonna see some things in the future.
Yeah. But man, for now, it is still a ridiculous amount of overkill. And we got one shot when we were messing around last week that was, one of those Loot Studios Brent Troopers, the STL file from Loot Studios that has my face on it.
Yeah.
And so this camera did 180-degree arc around that figurine, and then it pulled way out to just see my grinning face, my actual face. Just the amount of effort that went into this shot, that is just the stupidest shot that anyone has ever collected. It tickled me, and I broke down laughing.
I mean, I'm sure you're getting a little tiny version of you, and then the real version of you laughing as they use this $300,000 camera to film it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole YouTube thing, with people watch our content, and that has some degree of value to it, and what we choose to do to kind of channel that value and turn it into something new. I have entirely squandered it with a figurine of myself and a ridiculous camera arm robot.
Yeah. You're I've always just wanted a figurine of myself, really. I think I'll think I'll just negotiate that.
Yeah. Black Magic Craft has made an entire game system, the game system of his dreams. Miniac has those little elves, and he's got, beyond his elves, he has like a team working for him. Squidwire's got a team, and I've got stupid robot arm shot of a miniature of myself going up to my idiot face. Worth.
Yeah, right. You got you riding in a canoe. I think you're fine.
Yeah. So I did. I did go to that wedding, and it was a wedding where I met a lot of the folks I went to college with, and at this wedding, the most common profession at this wedding was cardiologist. Like the person getting married, cardiologist, like old college friend of mine, cardiologist. People in the wedding party, cardiologist. I think several other people in the invitees, the crowd were cardiologists. Just like, hey, what do you do? I paint figurines for the internet. So,
yeah, not working on anything.
Take a look at this camera shot.
Yeah. Did they just invite the entire department?
5-second summary of how the last 15 years of my life have been. Yeah.
Right? That's too good, man. Look, I imagine that your day-to-day is a lot less stressful and a lot more fun. I guarantee that.
Dude, I've got less than 1 month to read this 2-page rule sheet and paint some blizzards. And if I don't get a hold on that,
yeah. Oh man, they're out saving people's lives, and you're like, well, I'm getting people into miniature painting, and that's gonna increase their lifespan. Yeah, this is so much doing good for like mental health for people everywhere. It's just as important, probably.
I hope nobody has ever actually had a heart attack while miniature painting. It should be like a fairly soothing thing, unless you spill a pot of paint and then just, I don't know, you spike in your pulse and then bad things happen. I'm not a cardiologist. I don't know the anatomy of a heart attack.
Apparently you know enough of them to ask. I mean, come on now. Like, get the hard details here.
Gotta ask my pals. Yeah.
Yeah. You got like the whole department right on hand. You can ask. Like, what do you think happens if I spill this Nuld oil? Like, how mad do you think that's gonna be?
Yeah. I don't know. In movies, that's when it happens. Someone gets like a little bit surprised or excited,
right, yeah.
And then
that's all. Or somebody tells them some terrible news or something.
Or, yeah.
I don't know. Is that actually how that happens?
I don't know how these things happen, but I hope nobody has ever suffered a cardiac event while miniature painting. I think it is a calming thing that should lower your overall stress level. Should be good for you.
Yeah, it should be.
Not too many weird chemicals. There's some weird smells.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the Tamiya panel liner smells pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
I apologize for this transition, but Casey, you know what came out recently? Two thin coats. It's not my fault this popped into my mind. Not my fault this popped into my mind.
You did good with the Frostgrave, and now we're into some weird territory. That's fine. I get it. I get what you're saying. We're gonna continue on and just push through because that's how we do it. We have to. We don't have a choice. Two thin coats, Duncan's paint line that we both reviewed 9 months ago, like a long time ago at this point, is being sent out to people, and some new reviews have been popping up online, and people are getting their paints, which is pretty exciting. I'm actually pretty curious, as I'm sure you are, to hear what everybody else thinks about these paints and like what the final product is.
Yeah. Yes. So, Yeah, we got very early samples from the Gamma convention in March. It is currently September, so it's been 6 months, about.
6,
and
okay.
Yeah, this is the other side of that coin of getting early product and putting out an early review. Is that we had no idea what anybody else thought of it, and so second guessing ourselves for 6 months here. Like, were we?
Pretty much too, because they were hand bottled, like flown in the day before kind of thing, and the labels were printed there and wrapped on those bottles by hand. It's not like it was done at all in the same process. Right. So, we were told we were getting specific types of products, and we certainly tried to reflect that in our reviews, but like, who knows, right? Like, who knows? Things happen in the production process.
Yeah. So far, it does seem like people are, identifying similar issues, both good and maybe not so good with the bottles and the paints. So it seems like the very early batch we got is probably pretty similar to what's been going out with the full release or the full shipments of the Kickstarter.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. Yeah, just from seeing a few of the videos, like even the consistency and the coverage and all that stuff seems, in line with what we're using.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found a bottle of Duncan Rhodes paints under my tool chest today. It just kind of happened to. We thought that we lost it when we were doing those videos, or, we didn't have some of the paints, like a couple of them. Turns out it was on the floor. It's been there for 6 months.
That's what happens when you move. I mean, you're probably going to find some stuff that's a lot older than 6 months under some furniture.
I did find, I was looking and looking and looking for like a knee pad for one of the Night Titans. Like, I went on eBay and I bought a replacement because I could not find. I found it today. Almost vacuumed it up, and I'm like, knee pad. Now I don't need it, but I found it, and then I found a head of a Wraith Guard from the Eldar army, the old metal ones. And like, I've been pushing back this video that I've been trying to make forever, painting some of the old metal ones, and like, I lost one of the heads and I don't know where it went, and I found that today. So yeah, like, uncovering all sorts of good stuff.
Man, you've got a couple of days ahead of you. I'm telling you, you got a couple of busy days.
Yeah. I think the plan is like box everything up from my office, move it all into new office, and like somehow stay up all night and move everything else so I have time to like film a few more things. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but that's kind of the plan right now. I'm just gonna push it for like 3 days, really hard. We'll see how that goes.
Got to keep your eyes out while you're vacuuming, though.
That's true. That's an
bits.
important thing to note in general. Like, if you hobby on a carpet, that's like, an empty void like where all your bits go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did get a vacuum that has a little tray that does catch that stuff. So
good.
If I did vacuum it up, it's not going into like a space where I can't get it. So yeah, I did vacuum up, like, I'm pretty sure it was a Dark Eldar arm. Like, one of those back. Yeah. Not sure if I need that, but I do have like a just a stupid amount of like Dark Eldar bits that I got from a guy back in like 1999, and I have not touched them since. Yeah, heads and arms and like a bunch of weapons and stuff from those like starter kits or whatever.
Ooh, we'll talk.
Yeah, I'm sure you're still looking. You're still looking for all those. Yeah, I got you. Got about 40 left arms.
I have a lot, but those guns are thin enough that they break pretty easy, and only 1 in 4 splinter rifle is held up like above the head so that you can see all the cool patterns on their chests. So we'll talk. Right. We'll talk. Yeah. There's some good.
They did that with the old Guardians too, the Eldar Guardians. Like, they always across the chest with the stupid guns. They get like the one guy And it's like, oh yeah, look, like they got all this cool sculpted detail. Like, why are you not showing this off? Why does it have to be like this? I don't know. Weird decisions back then in the 90s. I don't know. I do miss it though. I don't know. Something about
that didn't go straight into the trash then. I'm glad.
Yeah, me too. You never know.
Unless it was one of those across the chest arms, in which case,
yeah, I'll have to take a look. It might have been. It didn't really look like a straight arm. It was just more like a curved elbow, right? Like where they're holding it.
It's
close.
the angle of the shoulder joint. It is a curved elbow, but it's the angle of the shoulder joint. It's the difference between yeah. Man, I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't properly describe the position of this shoulder versus this shoulder.
Yeah, we're not doctors.
Wasted my youth. Yeah.
Wasted your youth on not studying human anatomy enough.
Right.
Could have been a cardiologist.
Could have at least been a physical therapist to be able to talk about prolate, prolapsed, rotator cuff. I could have used all those words successfully in a sentence to describe the shape of that Dark Eldar arm from 1998 3rd edition.
You could. Or you could just say it's that one arm that sticks out.
Start going to night school so I can get really into that warrior kit. Yeah.
Yeah, just to be able to properly explain some of these kits. I mean, man, some of these kits these days, though, like especially lately, like you basically have to be a doctor to be like, well, here's all these bits, here's all these pieces, and how they work. So here you go. It's getting ridiculous.
Legends of the Painty Men. Legends of the Painty Men, who you should be listening to if you're not already. It's a really good
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you even like this podcast a little bit, you're gonna like that a lot more, probably. That's a very good podcast.
Yeah, it's better than most podcasts, the Legends of the Painty Men. Mm-hmm. But they've got a section where they're talking about some Chaos Barbarians from the Age of Sigmar line. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about the fact that they're so muscular that they have muscles that don't actually exist on the human body.
Right. Like little muscles in between the big muscles.
Yeah. They're so beyond Conan jacked that just the physiology and the anatomy is enhanced. It's beyond.
True. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, some of the even the fantasy ones, like the chaos models, are just like, you look at them, I'm not even sure what's going on there. Especially when you're painting them, like you're like, okay, well that's like a pectoral. I get that. That's some abs right there, and then you got these like 40 other little bumps over here. Like you're highlighting each one. Like, I don't think this is real. You gotta wonder. I often do wonder that myself, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it is a real skill that sculptors have to be good enough at human anatomy to know, like, the insertion points of muscles and to at least know what muscles are real and what muscles aren't, and what muscles look like when they're relaxed or contracted or whatever. Mm-hmm. They get all their attachment points right. But yeah, some of those barbarians, Man, gotta pull some of my college friends aside and start quizzing them. Label these.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I suppose it is a skill in itself to know how far you can go beyond reality while still making it look real, right? Because it's not like it looks terrible. Like, they look jacked, right? And that's the point.
Yeah.
But then half of those things don't exist. So, I mean, orcs kind of have that a little bit going on sometimes, too.
Sure.
Yeah. But that makes sense.
It would be interesting to... Man, that'd actually be a really cool video, is to find physical therapist or anyone who has that kind of human anatomy, like, to medical
break down
knowledge.
The anatomy of some of these models.
To show them like 10 models that we're not sure about. And to have them be like, these two actually could be real. They're like a little bit imbalanced maybe, but like these ones could be real. This one is definitely not real. That'd be really cool. That would be awesome.
Oh,
that'd be a great video. Do it.
I got the perfect title too.
Okay.
I mean, supposing that Space Marines couldn't potentially possibly exist, what with all the, things that happen, seeds and whatnot. But like just saying Space Marines could never be real. Right there. That's
actually,
your title.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I think I did see this video specifically about Space Marines. Like a YouTube doctor talking about Space Marines.
Really?
Maybe. But I feel like that popped up on my timeline.
I mean, it certainly could.
But now YouTube is just showing me the tiniest apartments in Japan for some reason. So I'm getting no useful information about the hobby that way anymore.
Like your YouTube account is now just
I never clicked. I clicked on like one van video, like one.
And now you want to live in a van
video,
or
and
a
now
tiny
it's
house.
just all tiniest apartments in Japan.
Yeah, you're screwed. Yeah, definitely. No, dude, like anytime that my kid gets a hold of like my YouTube account and I accidentally leave it on my actual account, like I'm screwed. Like it is now just children's videos and it's like Warhammer, all this stuff, and then like Cocoa Melon. No, man, it's not good. I don't like it.
That's how they get you.
That is how they get you.
All right, what else is going on, Casey? What else do people need to know?
The people. I don't know, man. I finished my tiny hammer, my new tiny hammer video. I think that it turned out really cool. I'm actually very excited about how the whole project came together.
Yeah,
like it's like tiny miniatures are just really fun to paint. Like, honestly, if I was just told, like, well, guess what? From now on, you paint 15 millimeter models, and that's just what it is. I think I'd be okay with that. Like, they're actually just, like, there's still enough skill involved, in doing any of the other models that you would paint, but it's not too small to actually get there. Like, it still takes an amount of work, and you get it done a lot faster. It's partially why I like painting Relic Blade models, because they're not huge, but they're like just right. I think they're like true 25 millimeter models, but like even, you scale that down just a little bit by 10 millimeters. And it's kind of this like perfect in between type of a model. It's not too small, not too big. It's just right. Yeah. So like I painted up a couple of warbands, like pretty big warbands for that. And I don't know. I was just super excited about it. And now I can play teeny tiny Warcry whenever I want. And that's weird, but very satisfying. Yeah.
Congratulations. Spread the good word. People will join. People will join.
I also found something out too, is that I don't know if you've had this happen to you, but if you have a box, like just a box, like say you have a cardboard box, you have a mental inclination to fill that box with something, generally. Now, if you have a nicer box, then you feel like maybe you want to fill that with something nicer. I'm seeing the value in having like nice containers, just extra laying around. I bought an art supply box for like drawing and painting. You keep all your paints and all your stuff. It's got like a tray that you pull out. It's got a whole thing. It's a whole organizational system. Very nice box, leather handle and everything. And like that made that project about 1,000,000 times better than it could have ever been, just because of the box. And the box in itself was the thing that made me want to go beyond. Like just a little bit nicer. So I think having some extra fancy boxes to put things in around will actually help you hobby better. I'm going to throw that out there.
Well, think about that.
Yeah.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, once I put the models in the box, it was like, holy crap, this is like a real project. Like, it's not just I painted some, 3D printed 15 millimeter models. This became an actual, like, set. It's like having a nice chess set compared to, like, the one you played in elementary school.
Sure.
Yeah. Like, it just changes the way that you approach that. So.
Yeah. I see that. Well, cool. Look, Casey, we got to wrap this up because you got to move a household tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true. And it's going to be a long day.
Probably going to have to, like, call the plumber tomorrow and stuff. Like,
okay, I hope not.
I don't want to jinx it, but you're probably going to have to call the plumber tomorrow. So
why would you say that?
I don't know. Just want you to be ready. So we got to wrap this podcast up, Casey.
I don't want to call a plumber. Plumbers are expensive. God, no, I do that. Thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.